You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 18th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon. I'll call this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 to order. Time is 4 o'clock, and I'll call the roll. Mr. Simmons?
Present.
Ms. Tisdale?
Present.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Moore?
Present.
Attorney LePage?
Here.
And Mr. York is here. Our first order of business today is approval of minutes from our regular hybrid Zoom meeting for February 3rd, 2025. Has everyone had a chance to review those? And if so, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our first order of business today, official order of business today, is a contract. This is a contract with the Michigan City Special Events Department. Is requesting the approval of a gold level sponsorship for the 2025 event season from NIPSCO in the amount of $10,000. I don't see our special events director here, but I do know, Ms. LePage, have you reviewed this contract and all is in order?
Yes.
Excellent. I do know they've been getting these in quite regularly, and that's really good. Good to know. Good for them. Do I hear any motion on this or any questions? Or let me open it up for public comment. Sorry. Any questions on this? Sorry about that, Scott. I was trying to get over it. Scott, any public comments?
Actually, I do have a question. So we have to approve them donating $10,000 to us?
Correct.
Well, I just want to thank NIPSCO very much for their generous donation that I'm sure we'll receive. And I think we should put it out there that they're donating $10,000.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I do see Mr. Greetham, Director Greetham in the back. Terry, would you like to say anything about this special event department, the gold level sponsorship from NIPSCO? Is there anything you'd like to add? Sorry, we jumped right into our meeting and yeah, it's okay.
Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Events. So NIPSCO has signed on again as a gold level sponsorship. They've been with us since day one. They are huge supporters of everything we do. And I would just ask that you approve it because I really need the money.
Excellent. Excellent. Any questions of Mr. Greetham from the board? Okay, I'll close this and any other public comments? Any other public comments? Anything online? Okay, I'll close public comments. Now, do I hear a motion to approve this request of our?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Ask. Ask. Ms. Smith is asking, and I'll look to Attorney LePage. Is there a way that we could blanket approve? So I'm assuming to keep Mr. Greetham from having to come back before this board for every special event. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you want to blanket approve it, that he doesn't have to come in front of you, that's great. And it's whatever you desire here.
Is that something
because it's a donation. So
would we have to put that into a, what do we have to do that?
do you want a resolution then? Do you want me to draft a quick resolution saying that if there's a monetary?
I can't
donation?
imagine a world where we wouldn't want to accept a donation for our fundraising. So, I mean, Lord, I take that back.
That's why I did. That's why I
I
did.
speak.
But I think he's running from one meeting to get to this meeting just to tell us that they're offering us a donation, and they always do. I
They
mean,
do. Absolutely.
just a thought.
I'll be happy to draft a resolution.
Is it because it's a contract?
Well, it's a donation. We're taking something. So,
Yeah.
Someone has to be the receiving body of it. And then the consideration of it is that we're giving them passes, we're creating marketing for them as well, and acknowledgement. So it kind of sets forth all of those parameters too.
Is
The
it,
logo and the sponsorship so that they know they know everything that they're buying into.
Is it good? I'll ask Mr. Greetham. Terry, what are your thoughts?
So I mean, I come to the board of works meetings anyway. As far as, I don't know that it's technically a donation for the fact that we're trading services. They're providing us money. We're giving them signage. We're giving them exposure on our website. We're giving representation at the events. So I'm not sure how it works, but it's, if I don't have to come to every meeting to ask for your permission to accept a lot of money, I'm fine with that.
Is it, Attorney LePage, is it good?
And I can also tell you, I have to sit here through these. So if you talk to me beforehand, it's usually a no-brainer. And you
Yeah,
don't
and the way that-
necessarily need to be at every one of them.
The way the contracts, we've basically, with Amber's help, created a contract template. And it's very simple. It's, if you read through the gold level sponsorships are exactly the same across the board. So I would never do a contract without Amber looking at it. She reviewed it at the start of the year. Yep, contracts are good, just changing dates and potentially dollar figures.
Okay.
So.
And even if we couldn't, could it be,
That's fine. Just go ahead and approve this one.
so you think we can do that?
Yeah, we'll just give him the authority
Excellent.
to do it. It'd kind of be an amendment to our purchasing policy.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Greetham.
Well, motion to approve this
Yeah,
contract.
correct.
then.
Absolutely. Let's get this one out of the way and then we can,
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business is a request for a stop sign. Kamisha Williams of 312 East Homer Street is requesting a stop sign at East Homer Street in Lafayette. This has come before the board before. I see our engineer out there. I did speak to Engineer Warner beforehand, and I do believe that his position is still that there shouldn't be a stop sign installed at this location. I'm looking at Chief Forker and asking, okay, they agree. This is the second time we've heard this one. Lafayette has become one of the only streets that goes through to 8th Street. It's a connector now, rather than Pine Street. And you may recall we made that a snow route as well. We had to go through that. So it really has become more of a major street rather than where it used to probably be less of a more of an arterial. It's now more or less a big connector from a north-south standpoint. So with that being said, are any questions of Mr. Warner from the board?
I have no questions, but I do just want to say that the police rang in on this, and Captain Jesse said that since January 1st, 2023, there's only been 4 calls for service at that intersection for accidents. So 4 calls since 2023 for the public's knowledge.
I will, any other questions of Mr. Warner or of Chief Forker from the board? Okay, I will close it for the board. Any public comments on this item?
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I know the County Plan Commission, you can't come up with the same, item within a year. I think this come less than a year, so I don't think this should be getting on the agenda. So like I said before, back in 2009, 2 school superintendents ago, Dr. Carla O'Connor was the superintendent of schools, that she had to cut back on a number of programs at the schools. She sat up there bawling her eyes out the school administration building up there on Carroll Avenue. One of the programs they had to get cut was driver's education. We need to bring driver's education back into the schools. And, these young drivers, they learn a lot of things I learned 35 years ago on drivers I still carry with me. When they get into their young adulthood, they start getting records and getting in trouble with things. Something I'm experiencing with my young adult tribe members right now. So bring back the driver's education into the schools.
Any other public comments?
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I reviewed this intersection, and I would point out, as I think most of us know, every intersecting street has a stop sign. So in fact, this intersection does in fact have a stop sign, just not on Lafayette, which is
Correct.
through.
It's not a 4-way.
Right. There will be a 3-way there.
Yeah, or, yeah.
But in fact, that is a controlled intersection, and as we all feel, it doesn't need additional signage. In fact, I say get rid of all the signs. Let anarchy reign.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any comments online, Drew? I see that you're probably the only one online. Okay, I'll close public. Any thoughts or any other thoughts from the board, or do I hear a motion?
Motion to deny.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay, our next order of business is approval of amended emergency plan. Approval of amended emergency plan for Shelf Ice Brew Fest on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. I do believe Mr. Justin Post is here to represent the Michigan City Main Street Association. Justin, how you doing today?
Good evening. How do you do? I did submit a realistic emergency management plan for the Shelf Ice Brew Fest plan or festival. And I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you for being here today. Any questions of Mr. Post on what he submitted? I will tell you that I did have time to talk with Director Greetham about, because he pretty much works a lot with these, with special events. He said he had no issues with it at this time. I would also say that in the future, we should probably start considering these a little bit more and make sure that we get these from other special events and things of that nature. So I guess this is giving us kind of an opportunity to kind of look at our special events.
Main Street's events have generally been that for the Board of Works. New requirements every year as we go forward.
Any questions of Mr. Post from the board?
Is this our first? Is that what you're saying?
I would say that we haven't required these in the past from other. We have had these from our events because we're the city and we have a responsibility to the general public to do this when we invite someone to our events. I guess I would add that for events probably of this nature in the future going forward, we should consider this. I would also add that I don't want to read about Michigan City in the newspapers for anything bad to happen in any of our events, and we should take it seriously.
Well, I would concur, being the times we're living in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I would approve that. Yeah.
I do believe Mr. Post has done his due diligence to put it together and try to get it to us in a timely manner, though.
Mhm.
Any other questions of Mr. Post? Justin, anything for us?
No, thank you very much.
Thanks for putting it together.
Yeah.
I will open it up for public comment. Any public comment on this item? Okay, I'll close public comment. Any other questions or thoughts on this item?
Good job.
Yeah, good job. Do I hear a motion? This will be the final approval. And because the event is
There's no more.
Saturday,
notice.
so
Motion to approve.
do I hear a second?
So,
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
aye.
Ms. Tisdale,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you for coming back
Thank you
the
all.
times that you did, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Justin. Our next order of business is the payroll claims docket for February 7th, 2025. Do you hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. Our next order of official business is claims docket for February 18th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Support.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale, Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business, we're moving into our unfinished pending items business. Our first order on this is a request for signage. Frank Anderson of 408 Martin Luther King Drive is requesting signage to implement laws for cyclists to abide by traffic laws. This was tabled from our February 3rd, 2025 Board of Works agenda. I don't see Mr. Frank out, Mr. Anderson out here. We tabled it because we were curious if he was talking about downtown or if he was talking about the crossing at Victory and Martin Luther King Drive, if that's what we needed to look at. I'm not sure if we've had time to even look out there, but the trail, Singing Sands Trail, does go down Martin Luther King Drive and then it crosses at Victory. So, being that he was from Martin Luther King Drive, I wasn't sure what he was referring to.
I did talk to him on the phone, and I let him know that we had tabled it because we had some questions regarding exactly where he was wanting signage. And he said that he would explain during the meeting, but
Okay,
I talked to him this morning and last week, so I don't know.
but you talked to him today and he,
Yeah, I talked to him this morning and he said he would be here.
okay, I don't think I see him. Is he online? No. All right, so what's the pleasure of the board? Do you want to hold it or didn't?
Motion to deny.
Okay. I hear a motion to deny. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Miss Tisdale.
Aye.
Miss Smith,
Aye.
Miss Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. I will say that Mr. Anderson, I guess, could make another petition with a little bit more specific details of where exactly he's wanting maybe us to consider this at a later time. Our next order of business is a street enhancement. This is Councilman Don Prespolinski is requesting for the Board of Works to contact CSX Railroad for projected start date to fix the railroad crossing at Woodland Ave. This was tabled from August 19th, 2024. I did talk to Engineer Warner about this ahead of time. The question was, I thought we had tabled this, but actually we hadn't. This is a separate request. But I don't know if that would be the request of you to table it and put it all together until we get asphalt companies open, because they probably will have to cut through that and then re-asphalt it, I assume. Okay. Any questions of the board? When did we table the I think to the 1st of March, 2nd March, second meeting of March? I feel like we did it to the second meeting in March because we were hoping
The second meeting of May.
May. So we'll know, because if they open in April, we'll know if asphalt companies are open and we'll probably have a timeline at that point in time. Okay. Second meeting in May. Do we want to partner these together from the board standpoint? That okay? Okay with you guys? Okay. All right. Mr. Warner, is that okay with you? Engineer Warner? Okay. Any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. Do I hear a motion? I'll make a motion that we table this request and that we bundle it with the other request for, I believe it's Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, for our table it to our second meeting in May, whatever date that is. I can't think right now what date that would be.
May 19th.
May 19th. And that it would be bundled with the other CSX crossings that we're waiting to hear back. There's a couple of other requests. We should hopefully know if the asphalt companies are open at that point in time. Does that sound okay?
Support.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay. Our next order of business is public comment. Any public comment?
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I've noticed a problem at Broadway and Carroll. When people are turning on Broadway and someone is sitting on the coming out, they have to cut the corner of the street there over the curve. And if and when they ever pave Broadway, could they possibly extend that out to where people won't be running over the grass there on the corner?
Okay. Fair enough.
If they could investigate that, check it out.
I see Mr. Warner shaking his head in the back. He'll take a look at it, Mr.
I
Hallahan.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I don't know if I bring this up here or at the city council meeting tonight, but as far as public housing in Michigan City, it's not there. My granddaughter is in Tall Timbers, and they have given her a notice to evict by the end of this month. And that was over a month ago they gave that to her, and I have been trying. I have searched everywhere in Michigan City to find somewhere to put her and her two boys, and I can't find anything. She's been on the housing list down here for over a year. She was on there when Joyce Gaston ran that. And when Joyce Gaston left, they took her off that list, and she had to go back down and reapply again. So that put her waiting another year. And I don't understand it. They've got all these empty ones, a lot of them boarded up that's not being fixed. And there's plenty of places for her to live in there, one of those. And her ex-husband and his girlfriend and kids got in there right away, ahead of her. It's frustrating. For me even, I was just looking for a cheaper house to buy for her. And I called in regard to a little house on Carroll Ave. And that little bitty house they want $100,000 for. It's totally gone way out of the market. There's no such thing as affordable housing here now. I know the mayor has talked about affordable housing, but we have nothing in Michigan City. And she's disabled. She can't work. And we've been fighting with the government for probably about 5 years to get her disability. And in between that time that she's been applying and been denied, her husband, when he was still with her, they got into a fight, and he picked her up and flipped her over on a coffee table, messed her back up, fractured a bone in her neck. So now she's on pain pills all the time. The pain doctor I go to, she goes to, that's all they can do for her, give her pain medicine. So then she sleeps a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm at a loss of what to do for this girl. I don't want to see her put out on the street. The two boys can probably go live with their dads. I don't particularly care about the younger one going with his dad, because he's the one that did that to my granddaughter. But the older one, his dad, he could live with him. He's 16. He's got one more year of high school.
Yeah.
I don't know the answers. I'm at a loss. Thank
I
you.
wish I knew the answer for you, Mr. Hallahan. I don't know that I know either. Oh, you're okay. You're okay.
Yeah, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street again. I just want to remind everybody, we got a really big special event coming up it's going to begin Tuesday, March 14th. It's going to be over 3 weeks. So Michigan City High School has the good fortune of hosting both the sectionals, the regionals, and for the third year in a row, the semi-state of the IHSA boys basketball tournament. You know, the IHSA's tournament for years has been renowned as, decades has been renowned as one of the best high school tournaments in the country. And having this, at least at the semi-state level, is really big for Michigan City. And we wouldn't have this every year. We don't want to lose this event like we've had several others over the years. I just want to I've mentioned the county commission. I know they got the jurisdiction over 400 north. Maybe get out there to Snowmelts, get out there and have the vector control, kind of combine our resources and efforts, have it all looking nice. Over that time, we're going to have 14 different schools coming and all their fan bases from every part of the state, all Fort Wayne, down by Kokomo, Indianapolis, Gary, Hammond, all over. So, I just want to make it look nice and make it be the best it can be so we can have it every year. It's really important. The students have always expressed to me, they love doing things for the school and the community that's never been done before. This is something we've never been done before, getting to host all 3 rounds. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Again, off that easy, Skylar.
Dang it. No,
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I think Tommy brought up a good point earlier about requests once they're denied, there has to be some minimum time limit before they can come back. Other boards, it is 12 months, for instance, the BZA. I don't know if your board has those rules, but that should be something you might want to consider adding. We all support, of course, the Shelf Brewfest, but the very late nature of these approvals and everything, I think, has bothered everybody involved. So I'm wondering if we should also not have some sort of minimum application time before an event implemented, so people know they have to get their paperwork in 4 months before the event or 3 months or what have you. Not to pick on them, but it's just an illustration. Because unfortunately, public safety is a real thing nowadays. As far as the blanket approvals I'm all for governmental efficiencies and making things more efficient. But we have to be careful of things like devil worshipping dog kickers for death who also want to make a donation. We probably want that to be reviewed before we just have a blanket okay. Although you probably have to okay them anyway on First Amendment grounds. So it's really kind of a catch-22. But yeah, let's watch out for those devil worshipping dog kickers for death. Bad organization. Final thing, I sympathize with the housing problem we have, but we do need to recognize that the median home price in America is over $400,000. I believe the median home price in Michigan City probably doesn't even break $200,000. And to even be able to find anything called a house at $100,000 is it doesn't get more affordable than that in America today. So we have to recognize we're not a high-priced community. We're still a low-priced community. And thankfully, after decades of stagnation, we're finally moving forward to get some closer to averages. We're just normalizing, and I applaud the changes we're going through. And I thank this board for what they're doing to further those things. And last thing, Ms. Smith, your hair looks great.
Any other public comments? Mr. Greetham, would you like to say something? Absolutely. Director Greetham.
Yeah, so in regards to our partnerships, the events that we put on as a city of Michigan City, we focus as family events. We're working harder and harder to make sure that we have more activities for kids. So in that same thought process, when we think of our partners, we make sure we've turned away some people who have contacted us about partnerships, and I mean partnerships of a good amount of money, because we felt that they did not fit, number one, the family theme of our events, but number two, that they didn't well represent the city of Michigan City. So before we would even go to a contract, if there was any organization or business that we felt might have a little question, we would sit with the mayor and with several members of the board to say, hey, look, this group wants to come forward and be part of it. What are your thoughts? And again, we'll try and get as much money as we can, but we're making sure that the organizations that we partner with are family and city oriented. The other quick thing I wanted to say is I agree about the time frame for events. For example, we came before you, I believe it was in October, to get approval for the events for the 2025 season. Same with the park board. Been working with Isabel, and we're going to put together a process to where we fix the timeline. Number one, I don't think 30 days is nearly enough, especially for an event the size of the Shelf Ice Brewfest, as well as the fact, and in their defense, they've never been asked for an emergency plan in the past. I think I kind of stirred that up over the last couple of years. I don't know why you would have an event of that size and scale without an emergency plan. So that's something that Isabel and I are going to take on, work with the police department to put together a process by which people have to come forward. The deadlines are going to be much further out, and there's going to be requirements, emergency plans, so on and so forth.
Mr. Greetham, you've done this on a professional level, and without this emergency plan, it leaves a lot of liability to chance, correct?
For sure. I've sat through several depositions at my previous job because somebody was injured at an event. And the first question they're asking is, can we have a copy of your written emergency plan?
So it's important.
I think Amber will admit if your answer is, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have one, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So yeah, so from a professional standpoint, we do it. I do it because I'm not going to allow a city event to not have a good plan, but we need to put that out in front of these organizations enough in advance, get them into a process, even if we have to help them with a template that covers all the things we want them to cover. But that's something that Isabel and I will be working on for the next however long it takes. So,
Mr. Simmons, did you have a comment? I saw your light up.
I'll just agree with that. I mean, by all means, we should have an emergency plan for all these requests. And, you know, it's important to vet a lot of, don't let anyone slip through the cracks on us.
without a doubt. Thank you.
That was my, and I appreciate you commenting
Absolutely.
about how you vet the people and you turn people down. My only concern is what if you're not here or the people that are as trustworthy as you are and you are, what happens then? Do we still have a process in place
Well,
to vet
again,
before it gets Amber?
um,
Is she the last man standing?
Why do I have to be the last man standing?
no, I trust, I've worked now for almost 4 years now.
We've
with Amber.
created several forms that we just
Yeah.
recycle every year.
And again, I've been around the business. This is just over 30 years for me in doing events. So I understand, especially with the city, of putting the city at risk in anything. So make sure that before we accept anything, that we're making sure that the city is, that the mayor's comfortable with it and that the board's comfortable with it.
Thank you.
And just if we pass a resolution, the board at any point in time can go back and amend that resolution if we aren't comfortable with any situation. So that's also a possibility as well.
And I'm willing, if as part of the resolution, I will take contracts, make sure that you all have copies of the contracts well before they're signed off on. If we're just eliminating the process of me coming here and
Well, I guess since we're having this open dialogue, I'm just throwing my 2 cents. I think part of the reason of bringing it in front of the board too, correct me if I'm wrong, was to create awareness
Yeah.
and to publicly recognize sponsors that are giving high-level dollar figures, right? So
Absolutely. It's a
we're
way-
losing that if we don't have it on the board of works. I'll be
Right.
honest with you.
And like, that's why I said I'm fine either way. I
So,
come to the meetings anyway, and I am proud every time that we come before you and say, hey, we've signed another partner. We're still not to our $100,000 target or our goal yet this year, but there's a good chance we may hit that within the next couple of weeks. And yeah, it does feel really good to stand before you and present these to you. And it's no more of my time than I'm already giving, so.
I don't
I'm
disagree.
fine either way.
I don't disagree with Ms. LePage. It is a way to like recognize our corporate sponsors, and we love our corporate sponsors. I know you guys do,
For sure.
and get the word out there.
For sure.
Hopefully somebody come in and be like, I want to beat that person and get more money and give you
It's
more.
always stir those competitive juices is fine with me.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you, Terry, for all your professionalness and information. You're always so good knowledge. All right. Any other public comments? If not, I'm going to close public comments. Any board comments? Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
So I kind of got 3.
Absolutely. Lay them on us.
Not that it's call and response, but in regards to Scott's comments, and the resolution and the idea of why I asked for the blanket, not because it still wouldn't come to the board for approval or whatever, but like I said, when I made that statement, Terry's running from one meeting to another to try to get here just to tell us we got money coming. And everybody may not know, but you and I know everything goes through Amber. So, I mean, there wouldn't have been a sponsorship or a proposal brought forward that she wouldn't have seen before it got to us anyway. So that was my thought process. I'm happy either way. And Mr. He's here. And my other comment was as far as organizations like Main Street and previous events that they have had, maybe they had not been asked for things. And I think we have a lot of organizations who weren't asked for things that probably should have been asked. And it only makes the city safer when we do put these things in place. So it wasn't to give them a hard time or anything like that. But when you realize something is wrong, you got to make a change and do something to make sure we're protecting ourselves. And the other thing was basically, like I said, about the contracts that they come before Amber. As far as sponsorship thingies, I'm saying we always want money if it's representing the city for a good cause for our family events. But to alleviate some of that runaround for you was kind of what my thought process was. That's all.
Thank you for those comments. I don't disagree. I don't know. Maybe it's something like, could it go on a consent agenda of some sort? I don't know, something like that, like where we can at least recognize them publicly. I don't know. There's some things to think about. So Terry doesn't have to run back and forth. Ms. Tisdale,
Motion to adjourn.
could I make some comments just quickly?
I thought you were done.
So no. I just quickly about Shelf Ice, and we weren't trying to pick on Shelf Ice or the Main Street. That was not the intention. I think the intention for that was to really set precedents with, like, some of the events that had came in. Mr. Greetham brought us. They were really thorough events and thought out. And when you're bringing 3,000 people downtown, it's true, Mr. Simmons, we have to start thinking about the reality that we live in. And that's a lot of people who are downtown. They're expecting a sense of safety. And we're saying that it's safe to be in this spot and congregate here. So there is some responsibility on us as a city and on them as an organization even. And I think that we really do need to think about having a safety plan required. I don't think 30 days is time for even the police to review that. Mr. Jesse is trying to do 10,000 things, and it's a priority, but not a top priority for a police officer. And I know we have that set out in our policy that you can apply 30 days in advance, or you can. I don't know if we should. And I mean, one of the things I think too is that it should go to maybe a committee or be held in a committee situation before it even comes to the board, so that we're not having this discussion back and forth here. We get everything we need. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know how we do that, Ms. LePage.
We'll let you lead the committee.
I don't know how to, I mean, I think that almost like we do development review where everybody gets to chime in and then it goes on the board once everybody's said their piece and everything's in order. And it's really more or less like, yeah, they have everything in place. We're good to go. I don't know. It just seems to make that easier. And I know with this one, our clerk spent a lot of time on this one, and she's got a lot of other things to do as well. So those are my comments. Ms. Tisdale.
I do have correspondence before you adjourn.
Absolutely.
We did get some correspondence, or a thank you letter, I should say, from Dave Alberts and Dan Radke, thanking us for your guys' hard work on making sure that the water runoff problem on Taylor Street was repaired. That was something that was on the agenda at the start of last year. It was on the agenda for a very long time.
Years.
Yes, years. And so just exciting that we've got had that come in today. So
That was very nice of them to take the time and thank us. Thank you. Ms. Tisdale, do you have a comment? I thought it was a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Awesome. Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome. We're adjourned.